Hello 8th graders and happy Monday. Today we're going to talk about what it means for two figures to be similar. I know you're going to do a great job on this video. Let's dive right in. First, let's do some rigid transformations. 1. Draw the translation of point A 4 units left and 3 units down. Go ahead and draw that translation and then fill in the ordered pair of point A prime. A prime would be located at -3, 0. Now, draw the reflection of point A over the x-axis. Then, enter the new ordered pair for A prime in the boxes. A is 3 units away from the x-axis, so A prime would also be 3 units away from the x-axis. The new ordered pair is at 1, -3. Now draw the reflection of point A over the y-axis on your paper, then enter the new ordered pair for A prime in the boxes. Here, A is 1 unit away from the axis, so A prime would also be 1 unit away from the axis on the opposite side. The new ordered pair is -1, 3. Now let's draw the dilation of a figure. The scale factor is 3 and it's centered at the origin. First, what are the original ordered pairs for L, M, J, and K? L is located at 1, 2. M is located at -2, 0. J is located at 1, -2. And K is located at 2, 0. Now let's find the ordered pairs for our new figure. Remember that I can multiply each coordinate by the scale factor. So, for L prime, what's 1 times 3? It's 3. What's 2 times 3? It's 6. So I can graph L prime at 3, 6. Now you try one. What would be the new ordered pair for M prime? Well, -2 times 3 is -6. 0 times 3 is 0. So M prime would be at -6, 0. Find the other two ordered pairs for our new shape. What are J prime and K prime? Well, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times -2 is -6. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 0 is 0. So, I can plot J prime and K prime, and then I can connect the dots to draw my dilated figure. Now let's try a couple new types of problems. What is 3a plus 4b when a equals -2 and b equals 3? We can use substitution to evaluate here. So I would plug in -2 for a, 3 times -2, plus, and 3 for b, 4 times 3. Remember, I would do multiplication first. What's -2 times 3? -2 times 3 is -6. What's 4 times 3? It's 12. Now I can solve by adding -6 plus 12. What's -6 plus 12? Well, I can subtract 6 from 12, and the answer is 6. Last year, in 7th grade, we solved two-step equations. To solve this problem, what would I do first? I would subtract 6 from both sides. What's 14 minus 6? It's 8. So I'm left with 2x equals 8. What would I do next? Remember, I used inverse operations. I would divide both sides by 2. to isolate the variable x. X equals 4. Let's do another one. What would I do first to solve this problem? Negative 3m minus 4 equals 8. First, I would need to get negative 3m by itself, so I would add 4 to both sides, because plus 4 is the opposite of minus 4. So I would have negative 3m equals 12. Now, to get m by itself, to isolate the variable, I can divide both sides by negative 3. So what does m equal? M equals negative 4. 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. Today we're going to talk about similarity and similar figures. When we dilate a figure, we create a shape that isn't congruent, but is similar. Make sure you're filling in your notes. Figures that are similar are the same shape, but different sizes. Any shape that is similar to another shape can be mapped to it using rigid transformations and a dilation. So we might rotate and dilate, we might reflect and dilate. As long as there's a dilation, we're creating a similar figure. Similar shapes have congruent angles and proportional sides. The sides have been scaled by the scale factor. Today we're going to find missing sides and angles in similar shapes using that knowledge. Let's start with an example of a problem that's similar to one we did last week. The two figures are similar. First, what is the scale factor? Remember, I can divide a side on the new shape, 6, by a corresponding side on the old shape, 12. How do I write the result of 6 divided by 12 as a fraction? It would be 6 over 12. Now I can simplify my fraction to find the scale factor. What's the largest number that goes into 6 and 12? 6 is the largest number that goes into both. When I simplify, what's my fraction? It's 1/2. So the scale factor is 1/2. To find the missing side, I can multiply the corresponding side times the scale factor. So 20 times 1/2. Remember, 20 times 1/2 is the same as 20 divided by 2. So what's the value of x? It's 10. I can multiply by the scale factor to find missing side lengths. It's also important that I know how to find corresponding sides, or sides and angles that go together. So these two figures are similar. Which side corresponds to QP? ED corresponds to QP. Which side corresponds to PR? DF corresponds to PR. Which side corresponds to RQ? FE corresponds to RQ. Which angle corresponds to Q? E corresponds to Q. Which angle corresponds to P? D corresponds to P. Which angle corresponds to R? F corresponds to R. Let's look at another set of similar figures. Even though these aren't pointing the exact same direction, there's been a rotation. We can still identify the corresponding sides based on the position of the angles. Which side corresponds to LM? RS corresponds to LM. Which side corresponds to MN? ST corresponds to MN. Which side corresponds to NL? TR corresponds to NL. Which angle corresponds to angle L? Angle R corresponds to angle L. Which angle corresponds to angle M? Angle S corresponds to angle N. Which angle corresponds to angle N? Angle T corresponds to angle N. When two figures are similar, we know that the angles will be identical and the sides have been multiplied by the scale factor. Let's look at these two shapes. First, what's the scale factor? Well, what's 6 divided by 3? The scale factor for these two shapes is 2. Now let's look at some angle measures. What is the measure of angle I? Well, I know that angle A equals 45 degrees, so angle I must be congruent. Angle I also equals 45 degrees. Those two angles are corresponding. What is the measure of angle M? Well, if angle O is 85 degrees, angle M must also be 85 degrees if the shapes are similar. What is the measure of angle L? If angle K equals 50 degrees, angle L must also equal 50 degrees. What is the length of side ML? With corresponding side OK. I need to multiply 4 times the scale factor. 4 times 2. So what's the length of side ML? It's 8. What's the length of side IL? The corresponding side is AK. So I need to multiply 5 times the scale factor. 5 times 2 is 10. Let's try another. Triangle DEF is similar to triangle PQR. What is the scale factor? Remember, I can divide a side on the new shape by a side on the old shape. How would I write 12 divided by 24 as a fraction? That's 12 over 24. 12 is the largest number that I can simplify by. So what is my scale factor? It's 1/2. Now I can find the value of K. I see that the corresponding side is 6, and I can multiply by the scale factor of 1/2. 6 times 1/2 is the same as 6 divided by 2. So what's the value of K? It's 3. What's the measure of angle P? Well, angle P corresponds to angle D. So, angle P must equal 25 degrees. What's the measure of angle E? Angle E corresponds to angle Q. So, angle Q must measure 50 degrees. What's the measure of angle R? Angle R corresponds to angle F, so it must measure 105 degrees. Let's do another one together. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle PQR. What's the scale factor? Well, I can divide 15 divided by 5 to find that the scale factor is 3. So what's the value of N? I need to multiply 2.5, 2 and 5/10, times 3. That's 7 and 5/10. What's the measure of angle P? Angle P corresponds to angle A, so it's 60 degrees. What's the measure of angle Q? Angle Q corresponds to angle B, so it's 35 degrees. What's the measure of angle R? Angle R corresponds to angle C, so it's 85 degrees. Remember that angles in a similar triangle are equivalent, they're congruent. Let's try another. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle MNP. What's the scale factor? I can divide 5 divided by the corresponding side, 15. Write that as a fraction. It's 5 over 15. What's the largest number that goes into both? 5 is the largest number that I can divide both 5 and 15 by. When I simplify, what's my scale factor? It's 1/3. So what's the value of x? Well, I can multiply corresponding side 12 times the scale factor 1/3. X is equal to 4 units. What's the measure of angle M? M corresponds to angle A, so it's 30 degrees. What's the measure of angle N? N corresponds to angle B, so it's 90 degrees. What's the measure of angle P? P corresponds to angle C, so it's 60 degrees. Now you try a couple. Fill in all of the blanks. What is the scale factor? What is the length of the missing side? And what are the angles? The scale factor is 2. 10 divided by corresponding side 5 equals 2. So the length of LK is 20. 10 times 2 is 20. Angles H and J are 105 degrees, and angles K and L are 75 degrees. Now try another. Find the scale factor, and then answer the remaining questions. The scale factor is 1/4. WV is 2. RS is 1. Angle R is 90. Angle S is 90. Interior angle T is 270. Angle U is 90. Angle V is 90. And angle W is 90. You've done a great job on this video. Now go to IXL Practice Q5.